Hey everybody, my name is Kyle Knott and I am not your average finance guy. Today we're going to talk about when should you start. So when should you start investing? When should you have planted a tree? 30 years ago is the best, or today is the next best as soon as you possibly can. When should you start anything positive? As soon as possible. Okay, a lot of people want the shade of a tree that, oh, wouldn't that be nice? They look over at their neighbor's yard and they've got this huge shade tree that their neighbors planted right when they first moved into their house, and they've lived there for 30 years. And now they've got this huge, beautiful shade tree. Meanwhile, your house, you moved in at the same time, but you never took the chance. You never took the time to plant that tree. And your neighbor did. Your neighbor planted the tree. They planted the seed grew. It it grew into this huge shade tree. Your retirement, your finances are no different. I'm in the market, not timing the market. If you can get lucky and time the market, fine. Whatever it is, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, Bitcoin, gold, you name it, anything. Timing, if you can time it just right, which no one really can, that would be great. But it's time in the market. It's years that you've got for that money to be able to compound and to grow. And if you can get uninterrupted compounding of your initial money, and if you keep feeding that every so often, hopefully weekly, maybe monthly, yearly, whatever it is, if you keep feeding that, it's gonna, like my airplane example that I always use. You start slow and get the whole thing going, but once it takes off, it's an exponential curve. What happens is the money that's in there starts making so much money on itself, and you take all that money that you made, you put it back in, plus whatever you can make. Now it makes money on all that as well. So I heard a story the other day about a couple that was in their mid 60s, and they didn't really have much money saved up, and their main source of income was going to be Social Security. And the husband worked his entire life. The wife didn't work. She kind of off and on, part time here and there. So she wasn't going to get a lot in the way of Social Security, just because she hadn't paid in for as many years, or to the amount that the husband did. But if you're just going to focus on Social Security income in your retirement, it's not going to be a very good retirement. Okay, yes, it's there, but you're on a fixed income, and you're not going to have a very great life if that's all that you've got financially. Okay, you can still have a great life. You're not going to have a lot of money coming in if you're just relying on Social Security income. Too often, the people that rely on Social Security income are the ones that spent their entire paycheck, their entire working life. They literally live paycheck to paycheck, and you hear all the stats. And unfortunately, Americans, it happens way too often. So really try to put something away. If you can get 10 to 15%, if you can put 15% of all money that you've got coming in, if you can put that away into some sort of an investment vehicle, check out the IBC method, infinite banking concept that I talk about a lot. You can get it working in two places basically, but put something away every pay period, every time you get, if you are under rental real estate, every rent check that you get in, take a little bit and sock it away into something that is kind of, make it untouchable. It's always there if you need it, but let's try to get that thing to grow. And it's the uninterrupted compound interest that will give you a little bit more in retirement. Now, depends on when you start. If you are in your mid 60s and you don't really have much to put away, what's going to happen when you do retire? Are you going to just live off of Social Security? You're not going to have anything left to put away once you're there. Once your income goes way down to Social Security, are you going to be a Walmart greeter? I've seen people that are in their 90s that I've known people personally that have run out of money in their retirement. They lived too long. They outlived their money, and then now they're in their 90s and they're a greeter at Walmart. Is that what they want to be doing all day? Some of them look like they're having a great time. Maybe it is, but I wouldn't want to have to rely on that. So think about it. What can you do if you're living paycheck to paycheck? Do you have to have, if this is your paycheck, do you have to have everything to spend every dollar? And a lot of us will take the money that we've got. Well, I look at my account. Here's how much I've got. So that's how much I can spend. It's money in, it's money out. It flows through your whole soul and everything else. So what if you just took of your paycheck start with a dollar amount. Everyone is so different. I'm not going to say go ahead and take 15% away right away if you're not used to saving anything. But I usually speak against banks and savings accounts. But if you are living paycheck to paycheck, do what you can to take, say you get paid every Wednesday. And every Wednesday, I don't know what your paycheck, if it's $1,000, try to take 100 and just send it to a savings account. It can be within the same bank. Ideally, it's at a different location altogether that you have harder access to get to it. A lot of times, if your checking and your savings are in the same bank account at the end of the month, oh, your credit card bill is too much, so you just wipe that savings out because you know it's there. What I want you to do is kind of look at stocking it away, and that's your kind of your untouchable money. Now, all of this at this point is after tax. If you want to look into a Roth IRA, you can contribute, I think, depending on your age, is it 6,000, 6,500, something like that? And maybe you can catch up a little bit more than that if you're 50 or older. But you can look up those limits. But that's a good way too of a Roth IRA. If you sock money away, it's a retirement account. You've already paid taxes on that, but now you sock it away into this Roth IRA account, and it can grow tax free. And the tax free growth is great. That's not eroding away your money, your income. But then it also, when you pull it out, since you've already paid taxes on it, you can take that out in retirement free of tax. And actually, with the Roth IRA, since you've already paid the taxes on it, you can always take that money out. But I wouldn't suggest doing that. If you need it, and you're in a dire emergency, that is an option. You can take that money back out. I've said a couple of times back in the day when I first got into rental real estate, I actually took a lot of my Roth IRA out and I used that for a down payment. Whether that was a good choice or bad choice, I don't know. I may have done some different things, but that's the path I went down, and there's no looking back from here. So it's water under the bridge. But it's just a way to get some of your income and put it somewhere else. Now, if you like your Starbucks and you like the little doodads, and every time you take your kids out to eat 4 times a week, and is there anything that maybe you could cut back on just a little bit? I'm not asking you to cut it all out. If you want to, that'll make your savings and your finances a lot better. But just what are a couple things that you could cut out? If you make $1,000, your paycheck's $1,000, could you take 100 and send it to a Roth IRA or a savings account or a money market account or something where it's just kind of out of sight, out of mind, and you could put that money to work and let that money grow, and you keep feeding it every single paycheck. Every time you get money coming in, you feed that a little bit. And if you're in your 60s, okay, maybe you're only going to do it for 5 years, maybe 10 years. You do that for 50 years, you're going to be sitting pretty in retirement. You just always get used to taking a little bit of money out. Now, maybe that means that you have to skip Starbucks once or twice a week, and you have to, maybe instead of going down to the local bar and having a couple of drinks and getting a great meal, maybe you just pull it back a little bit. Maybe you skip the drinks for a night. Skipping the drinks is huge right there. If you can go out and do that, just go get the burger, cut out a couple of drinks. Maybe you pull it back and you go to Culver's instead of, sit down somewhere. I'm not saying cut everything out. Still do what you need to do to make yourself happy, but know where you're at. If you want to get on my website, or not the link, I'll put the website up, but you can get on there. I've got some free resources that it kind of goes through, and it helps you budget and helps you think about what am I possibly going to be spending my money on for a month. And from there, you can say, okay, here's how much I make. I can't spend any more than that, or we're going the wrong way. So let's drop this down maybe 10%, and let's try to put a little bit of whatever we make. Let's throw that into that separate account, and let's get that growing. As sooner the better. And there are so many ways that you can do what you can do with that. But the first thing to do is start. Just start. If you can do it with your next paycheck. Now, I've got the real estate tax are coming due, so this is going to be a couple bad months coming up where I'm going to be paying a lot of money out. So I know that's coming though, but I'm ready for it. I've put money away for that. Now, if you got something coming up that you know you're going to pay and you just it can't happen, I get it. But as soon as you pay those taxes, as soon as you pay off that, if you got a pesky $500 bill on your credit card that you're getting charged 30% or so, pay that off. Get rid of that stuff. Look at velocity banking if you're looking to get out of some credit card debt and some of the debts like that. My friends over at Pay Down Debt Solutions are great. They make multiple videos every week about the velocity banking. I've got a couple, but they are way better at it, so I'm just going to let them roll with it. So check those guys out, and let's get out of that high interest debt, and let's start putting some money away and start building that nest egg. And like I said, the earlier the better, but it's never too late to start. Just don't give up and say, well, I guess there's nothing for me but living off of Social Security. I think that's the last thing you're going to want to do is work until you're 70 and be left with nothing but Social Security income, because it's going to be a rude awakening from if you're working until you're 70, you're probably making pretty decent money, and look into Social Security. What are you actually going to be making? And are they taxing it? I think they tax it now. I've written off Social Security. If I get any, by the time I retire, it'll probably all be gone. I might get something. I might get a fraction of it. So I am not putting that into my retirement plans whatsoever. But I know a lot of people do rely on it and they do need it. So just something to think about. The sooner you can start, the better off you'll be. I hope this helps. Let me know if you got any questions. Good luck.